this computer. Okay, it's on record now. So once again, good evening. As we highlighted that today's discussion is going to center on image perception, image enhancement with or using histogram analysis. And under this, we expected to know what is histogram. Is a chart or pictorial representation of an information. But under pictorial representation of an information, we have different charts. We have histogram charts, we have a pie chart, we have a line chart, scatter chart, and the rest of them. But on this case, for the sake of this subject, we are using histogram for analyzing an image, to stretch an image, to equalize an image, to sharpen the edge of this image. And at the same time, we'll look at how to remove noise from an image. And lastly, how to use or work with MATLAB. So having noted this, our area of our concern, we can move on to discuss some of the concepts raised. Like at the end of it, or you should be able to understand what is histogram, know how histogram are being used for image enhancement, how to identify source of noise, and how to use filter to remove noise. Okay. Now, we talk about histogram. In our last class, we were looking at grayscale image. We look at different color image representations or color representations. We have red, blue, and green, where we say is a primary color that you can combine or mix to achieve a secondary color. That is what I even made mention about. I remember those days when we were doing creative arts in my JS2 JX3. We were asked to pick up a primary color. We collected a physical color. We put them, you mixed it to get a primary color. So, and even when you are using your phone to take an image, because those days it was conventionally done, but now due to technology has evolved, as technology has been evolving, we are beginning to have different applications that help us to achieve some of the tasks very easy. Take for instance, now there are a lot of applications like what they call Snapchat. Snapchat is an application that helps you to do what? Enhance your outlook, to improve your image. Some ladies take pictures, some of the dark ones. That some of the ladies are in dark in complexion, even some guys too. When they take a particular picture, they will use certain applications like Snapchat and the rest of them to enhance it, make them to become looking, their complexion will become fair. They will be fair in complexions. But in real life, they are what? Dark in complexions. The same way, you may take some colored pictures, but you can change it to grayscale or black and white. So what is this is telling us that in a dark image, the gray levels, or what we call with the help of histogram, would be clustered all the lower ends. We are discussing about that when you have image and you want the brightness to be uniform, the gray level would be clustered at upper end. In the same way, the gray level would be well spread out over much of the range. Take for instance, what we are saying that when you have a gray image, with the help of histogram, the whole image will now go down, will cluster, will go and heap at the lower end. Once those attributes or the characteristics of those images are brought down to the lower end, that image becomes dark. But when they have a dark image, then all of them, all the whole grade levels are moved down to upper end. That image becomes brighter or becomes fair. The same way, sometimes you don't even really know how this happens. But I always tell my master students, at the level of your master level, let me just say, at your master level, you begin to think, you begin to reason beyond other people's reasoning. Know how some of certain scenarios, the mechanisms, how these things works is very, very important. At the undergraduate level, we just see, what we see is, this image is black and white, this one is gray, this one is colored. We don't know what happens. That is, at this level now, you begin to find out what really transpires underneath, what technology or tools being deployed or responsible for such actions. That is master. Which tools are used? How is being used to manipulate these images? This is the level we need to, at this present time, we need to look into. But at your PhD level, you now begin to look at, is there any theory? Is there any approach or method followed to achieve this? If I follow these, others are using this particular measures or approach to achieve this, maybe black and white, or brighten an image, or to contrast an image, or to change from fair to dark, or from dark to fair. You know, is there any other approach you can use other than that? That is what that takes into what? Into a PhD level, where you begin to reason philosophically, where you begin to act, prophesy, become an Eldorado, become you become a known expert or an expert in that area. Because at this level now, you are trying to understand, master how it works. But that is the time you've been able to make some detailed research about it. So we are not here to read and just to read what is on the screen. I know some of you can read even better as I do. But what the most important is to understand what is the scenario, what is the intricacies, what the intricacies behind this, what is the mechanism, why is this like this? And this is one of the approach that whenever an image is dark, it means that all of the grade level are moved down, are moved have been lowered down, or are brought down lower. That image becomes dark. But whenever it is pushed up, upward trend, then that image becomes what? Brighter. Note this, upper end and then lower end. That marks the movement, the mechanism behind image being transformed from one form to another, especially from dark to colored or to brighten the images. All right. Then we looked at figure 3.1 shows poorly contrasted image and its histogram, how it is chart or graphically represented. That is the histogram level. A histogram was obtained by using MATLAB software. If you are familiar with MATLAB, you can use it to perform a good number of image processing functions. For example, you can view the histogram of an image in a MATLAB by using the imhist functions. Many of the topics or diagrams discussed in this session can easily be obtained by using MATLAB, provided you have your data or image to work with. Additional information is provided on MATLAB at the end of this unit. We are saying that the easy applications you can use to manipulate an image is MATLAB. MATLAB is an application. mainly used for mathematical modeling or data processing or manipulation or model. So when you have this application, but first of all, you must have captured the image you want to work with and stored in a computer system. You must have captured those images, either the one you captured or the one that was publicly available. You source it out, or you capture them and then store in the system. You now use that MATLAB to begin to manipulate them. If you know how to use MATLAB, but if you don't know, you can read and know how to use it. Do you get it? So, it's not only, one may ask, is this only MATLAB one can use? No. Like for me, I am not too much conversant using MATLAB, but I can use Python to do anything I want to do. I use Python very well to analyze those data, those whether structured data or unstructured data, whether it's an image or numerical data or categorical data, any type of data, I can use MATLAB. Sorry, I can use Python to do it. So it's all about which application do you know. You must know one software or the other to use it to achieve whatever you want to achieve. I so much like Python because it has both web applications and also data analysis framework, like Nebo Pandas and the rest of them. So, but in the course of this, you should, on your own, try to read more about MATLAB and how to use it. You can use it to do a lot of things in the computer system, or when you have to do with data, when you have to do with mathematical models and the rest of them. You can use to develop it. Remember that we talk about image. You know, computer language is all about zeros, machine language is all about zeros and ones. So all the whole thing we are discussing, there are the whole thing, there are parts that convert, change all this high-level language to low-level language. And that is why you can use number to represent an image. Just like now, this image now, you see, you look at somebody's picture. You see this image, a human being's image, and where it was used histogram now mathematically transformed in histogram. Look at it. You see the black, you see the gray. The gray, the one that look like where sometimes it's gray, like ash color. You see, they use it now to analyze this image. Then you want to enhance that image. You at the same time use the same histogram hint to do it. That is, you want to visualizing it in terms of the appearance. How does it appear? Enhancement, whether it's black to white to black, and how remember that we are discussing about image perception. Note this one. Very important. This is perception, your feelings, your visualization. How do you see it? How do you cite it? How do you feel about it? What do you think about that image? That is a perception. Okay. Now look at where they use mathematical model using a histogram stretching or contrast stretching. You see gray, they use the eye. You see zero, these are they use number to represent them. You see they use number to represent them. And then when you manipulate this number, if you are using MATLAB to work on it, it's not about maybe when you have to, if you put 3, you see you preview it, see how it look like, just like that, just like look at it. They use now this histogram to just manipulate those images and the rest of them. So when it's being stretched, when it's being compressed, and when you use it, you visualize it, then both you see the code, you see the 3D picture, you see where the chart. So that is the discussion here. See where they are using MATLAB now to use mathematical expression to manipulate those images. For example, a function given by the following equations has the effect of stretching the grade level from 5 to 9 to a grade level from 2 to 14 according to the equations. You see, J equal to 14 minus 2 all over 9 minus 5, where I is minus, subtract 5 from I plus 2. When you compute this, you'll be able to see. Have you seen this image now? The figure 3.2.1b. You see how sharp, how dark, how bright compared to the figure 3.2.1a. You see, when you compare the two images, you see how this one, how sharp it is, because here they manipulated the number. So you just use that formula to manipulate the number, and then if you are doing a practical, all you need to do is just to play around it, add some numbers, remove some numbers, you review it, and then see what you achieve at the end. So if you want to do the equalization, all you need to do is just adopt the existing model, these equations, and then input those numbers as given here, the different levels, grade levels. Just as the number is being given, just input it, substitute the number with the given number, then you preview it, you see the results. So the same way you see the grade level, you see the number, all you need to do, using that formula, pick any of this number, substitute it, and then the value, you preview it, go see the results. That is all you need to do. That is why it's good that you have idea of how the MATLAB, you can easily download it and then install and see how you can work with it. You have more, you can read more about it, maybe the tutorial. You go to YouTube, type MATLAB tutorial. How to use it is self-explanatory. The same way edge sharpening. You want to sharpen the edge, it's all about manipulating the value using the standard shapes, And now it's a edge sharpening. Another approach in making edge in an image slightly sharper and crisper. Make it sharper, which generally results in an image more pleasing to the human eyes. That is the perception we are talking about. The perception. How do you view this? How do you see this? How do you perceive about this? How do you feel about this? So, how to make it more sharper. Sometimes you take a picture, especially when you are using some different devices. You say your phone is, you use your phone, I use mine, capture the same image at the same spot. But it's a tendency that your own may be brighter than mine, or mine may be brighter than your own. What happens? It depends on the pixel, depends on the tools, the mechanism that your device have. Some phone, when you check their pixel, remember that in our previous discussion, we discussed about pixel. Use it to rate the size of images, the density at which your camera can capture an image. So if your own pixel is higher than mine, or mine is higher than yours, then the result will always translate. The higher the pixel, the brighter and the sharper the picture. That is the summary of that discussion. Just like what you are seeing here, original image after unsharpening image. What you watch, this is how this one was. Seem to be noise, and this one is sharper. It's all about manipulating those images, especially when you have it in your application. If you use maybe Python to do it, when you load it, sometimes you'll be do like as if you are streaming it. You'll be watching how it's being compressed or how the image are being changed. Okay, even sometimes when you do, if you use Microsoft Word, when you pick an image, when in the image properties, you will see contrast, you see brightness and the rest of them. So the more if you choose one, if you choose a scale, you will see how all of them are being manipulated. So if you're using Microsoft Word, maybe for instance, now let me say, well, it is Microsoft Word. Okay, let me see. This is Microsoft Word. Okay, let's say, can you people see my screen, MS Word screen? Can you see my Microsoft Word screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can, sir. I can, sir. Yes.
You can't see it.
We can see it, sir.
You
From
can
this
see,
end, I can.
can you see my screen now? White screen, Microsoft Word.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. Now let me just insert an image, this picture from this device. Let me insert one image. Let me just. All right. From look at it, it's an image. If I double click on it, if you go to picture formats, under picture format, you see you see the brightness. You see how the whole thing is changing. You see it. So it's be changed. Then if I go to color, I've changed it now to black and white. This is gray color. This is saturation is 0%. If you go here now, this is saturation 33%. This was 6%. You see, if you're watching how brightness based on the saturation, it's 400%. So this one is blue gray scale. Text color 2 dark. If this one is 1 dark, just like that. You see this one light gray, background color 2. You see the because of the each one now you see the number. This one is 2. This one is gray, blue gray 2. The darkness. So all of this color tone, color saturation, recolor, and all of these are shown here. See black and white. This one black and white.
You can't see what you're doing, sir.
We can't see anything, sir.
You only see your Microsoft Word and you can't see the pictures. We don't even know what you're doing. We only see the Microsoft Word, sir.
Let me start. Do you see where I'm clicking now? I'm trying to import an image. Do you see an image I dropped?
Yeah, I can see.
Yes.
Okay.
I see you selecting image.
Yes, sir.
Okay, under this image now, you see me. If I go to this is a color brightness. This is a sharpen or soften. You see, as I'm touching, this is brightness 20%, contrast minus 40%, brightness minus 20%, and the contrast minus 40%. You see, if I move down,
sir.
then if I touch it, then watch the picture itself, the image I dropped. You see, have you seen the image I dropped now? Have you seen how it is? And you see the percentage of the contrast and the you see how it's changing. Then the same way, if I go to recolor, see recolor. This one I see dark blue, text color 2 dark 2. Then this one dark is 1. You'll be checking the image. If I click here now, this one, the image have changed everything to black and white. Black and white, 75%. If I move here now, this is how it is now. This one is 50% black and white. This one now is wash out. You see? All this is based on the numbers. You see how you use this now, the properties now to manipulate those images. The color, the brightness, and the rest of them. So this is what we are discussing, that it depends on the number that determines how the image appears, whether black and white. You see how I'm using that just like a mini app or features to manipulate these images. I can change it to different color. Do you see the color it is? This is another color. This is green color. This is dark green. This is orange. This is dark tea. This is a grayscale. We're talking about grayscale. Have you seen this is a grayscale? It will change like black and white, but not really black and white. Because of the scale they have. This is no color. This one grayscale. It will change like that. So we go back to where we are. Okay. That is where we are. Okay. All right. So this is how they do this to achieve all this manipulation of these images. But that one is Microsoft Word. But if you are programming and have a hands-on practicals, you use MATLAB as is being notified to us. Use it to see how it works. So the same way, just like what they say, MATLAB stands for Matrix Laboratory. It is a programming language for technical computing from MathWorks, according to Nix MA. It is used for a wide variety of scientific and engineering calculations, especially for automatic control and signal processing. MATLAB runs on Windows, Mac, and varieties of Linux-based systems. Just as I said, you can download it and install it on your, if you're using Windows, if you're using Mac, any of the operating system you're using, you can download and store in it. And according to Clever Moore in the late 1970s, MATLAB is as old as some of us talking. MATLAB has wide areas of application today. Most of image processing tasks can be handled by it with little programming skill. You can get a copy from internet or other source for your personal computer and explore its features. You can get it and explore its features. So you can easily download it, take a look, get more details by going to YouTube. Go to YouTube, type MATLAB tutorial to help you acquire that skills. And remember that as a computer science or information technology based or field of studies, it is important that at least try to get familiarized with one or two applications or software, so you can code or program. At least have one or two programming language you will be familiar with. Very, very important. Because you may finish your master's now. You might, some of you are working, some of you are not yet working. I believe that, or is anybody here, is all of you working, a working class level?
Yes, sir.
Is any of you that depend on this certificate to get yourself in for something?
Not really.
Eh?
Not really, just to see that we improve on our academic certificate, just to add to increase.
To only increase. Okay. That means
Yes,
everybody here is
to a
everybody.
step further at least.
No, there are two reasons. Some of you need the certificate to improve in your working place. To improve, enhance your knowledge in your
Yes,
working
yes.
place. Some of you
Yes,
need
sir.
this. Some of you need this to as a step forward to further your academic career, because without master you can't do your PhD.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Some of you need
Okay.
that. No, some of you need these certificates to get yourself most to align yourself in your working area of life or choosing area. Meaning that you get it, then you will now use it to improve yourself to get work. Getting work in the sense that when you have your, some of you may not have been working or be fully engaged. You want to have your master so you can quickly do your PhD and then maybe possibly either convert or seek for an employment or seek for academic jobs. Remember that according to NUC guideline, in a normal, the minimum level to enroll yourself in academic job is PhD. Except you have long leg and get from with your master's, you can get assistant lecturer. But when you have your PhD, that is according to NUC guidelines, especially in public schools, federal universities, and some of the states. You ask, you have your PhD. But in the private, if you have the skills, you can give you edge to start lecturing without having your PhD level. But in all I'm saying is skills is very, very important. Even if you are working, that you're working and for you to get the money you're expecting as someone who knows study computer. I mentioned this in our last class. It's through certifications, through the skills and use certifications. But reading, general knowledge only earns you certificates. But certifications pay you more than certificates. All right. We'll move on. Our time is already in, but we can still move further to complete all we have for today. So there are places you can read more about what we discussed. Then the last we look at is morphological operators. Morphological operators. Morphological operators relates with translations and reflections, dilations and erosions. We also look into relationship between erosions and dilations. We also look at opening and closing. At the same time, applications that helps you for noise removal or application that helps you to remove some noise. Then we also look at the relationship between that opening and closing. So this is all we look into under morphological operators. And morphological operators, we are looking at some of the mathematical theories that can enable us in different ways to manipulate the image. Take for instance, A is a set of a pixel in a binary image where W equal to X and Y. Given these equations is a particular coordinate point. X is the coordinate and Y is a x-axis coordinate and the y-axis coordinate. Then when AW, remember that A is a set of the pixel and W is a coordinate point. When you marry two of them together, then this translates to a certain directions, X, Y. This direction is giving us that AX, there is a set of pixel x coordinates may give us, let's say, a set of A, B, plus another set of coordinate of x and y, such that A, B is a subset of A, which is a set of pixel. We are saying that A, when you have a set of pixels combined with one of the coordinates in a predefined set, you see this a curl bracket. See, it has a set of x where A and B plus x and y, all of them is a subset of A and B, originating from what? A. Let us consider a practical example by using figure 3.1a. You see x-axis, the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. Let's say, for example, we have numbering from 0 to 5. And this one is numbering from 0 to 4. Then you see the intersection. When you pick one, this the first intersection now is, it should be, if you are to list it out, you say is 1 and 0. Then the second one here, you may be, I can say 1, 1. If you are to pick the set of this diagram of this binary set, it's about that each of these points, you look up the adjacent, the intersection, and pick the value. Let's say this first one should be 0 and 1. Then the second one here, it should be 1, 1. The third one should be 2, 1, just like that. Now look at the figure now. The shape set is W, which is represented as what? 2, 1, 2, 2, that is 2 and 2. If you look at the intersection of 2, look at this 2 here. Should be somewhere here. The set A has been shifted in the X and Y direction by the value given in W. Here, we observe that here we are using matrix coordinates. And then if you compare figure 3.1.A with 3.1.B, you see that it has shifted from this coordinate to a low end coordinate. This one is upper coordinate, up, upper. This one is down. That means in going with what we discussed before, discover that here is the black and white or grayscale has moved up, which make it what? Black and white, or rather grayscale. Then when this thing, the gray move down, that means here we have a brighter pictures. But here gray move up, that one will have a grayscale. But here that will be what? A original color. So it's just about using the operators to manipulate the images or the pictures. That is the summary of all of this. The same way when we look at the coordinates and we look at the example where you use the both depend on the value. This one they're using minus of the sets. That is why you see the image here. You see the negative scale. They are painting. It was a gray scale, see, but they're using the negative sign. But here that are positive, you see, it is darker and it's brighter. See, it is brighter here. Here is faded because it is negative scale. Here is a positive scale. And remember again, when we are talking about that, when the gray move up, move lower, is negative and this is positive, and that determines the brightness or how dull or sharper it just determine the level of the brightness of that image. So now we'll talk about dilation and then erosion. Dilation, the two operators that constitute morphology is what? Dilation and erosion. That is two operators that constitute morphology of an image. And note this, it always appear in your exam. I think the last exam when I marked, it has these questions, the two operators or basic operators of morphology, and then use some mathematical operations to explain dilations and erosions. And you say, assume A and B are set of pixels. The dilation of A by B denoted by AB is defined as ABA. Just note this formula. If I explain this in the exam, if you just explain it in this way, be able to get this. Where A dot B is, you are multiplying, that is the product of A and B. You are multiplying the two values. So it has been transformed here. Then from the last definition, dilation is shown to be commutative. That is AB equals to BA. That is, if either you say A times B or B times A, that's what it means. 1 plus 2 or 2 plus 1, that's what it means. So those analyses have been transformed into this value you are seeing here. If you use MATLAB, if you use what's called MATLAB, it will help you to achieve some of this. Emilia, do you have questions? Please feel free to ask.
Please, can you go up a little bit again? Yes. Okay, sir. Why? Okay, here with the formula. We're trying to explain the formula.
Yes. That this BA, which of the formula are you talking about? Let me be specific.
This formula here, you say as that dilation. You say assuming that A and B are set of pixels, the dilation of A by B, that's A multiplied by B, right?
Yes. A multiplied by B.
Okay.
Which means that AB is defined as defined as A. Like BA is supposed to, just like A times B or B times A, just like 1 times 2 or 2 times 1, they are equal. When you say 1 times 2 or 2 times 1, do you understand? Look at the summary of the definitions. AB equal to BA.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Akpan.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Please, I have a question to ask on the other question you asked about whether there are some students here that are looking for the certificate to have a job or whether we have already worked. I want to ask the reason TED Fund doesn't sponsor MSc or PhD with National Open University.
Well, to my best of my knowledge, it is not, they see Open University as a distant learning. A distant learning, or a hybrid learning where you just do it on your own and everything is online. But I believe due to the shift, the way people see Open University before is not the way they are seeing it now. I'll give you this scenario. When I did my first degree at Ebonyi State University, my undergraduate supervisor then, he recommended me that I can do my master's in Open University. Out of enthusiasm, I joined the program and I met some other people. But at a point, I begin to see some people discussing Open University as they say it's a political school, this and that, blah, blah, and blah. That almost made me to get discouraged from the program. But I said to myself, no, that whatever project I started, I must surely finish it. Whether it's good or bad, I must finish it. When I get a certificate, let me drop it in my storage file that, yes, I've once a time go to school place. But as God may have it, we're able to graduate. And so at that point, people were like, if we have open university, they won't accept the certificates elsewhere, this and that. And they were meant to be like, they are to be inferior with those who attend conventional universities. I told people no. Of course, we all know that it's even more tedious than attending, if opportunity to attend conventional universities. This way you pay more attention, you learn, you read more than those who attend conventional universities. So we have to do the program and we have to complete it. Then, before we could finish, the whole picture about Open University begin to change in different directions, where people were having issues of going for service, where a lot of things are being denied with those who attend the universities. So gradually, not the way people are seeing there, the way they are seeing it now. Finally, during my PhD, we went for screening exam. 3 of us from Open University, and we were about 23, including the staff from the same department in one of the federal universities. At the end of the whole screen, those out of the 23, the first 3 came first from Open University. So what am I saying? That national Open universities, they are seeing it as a distant learning, but the whole thing is changing. Now we can have a physical contact or a lecture. Someone can sit and clarify some issues, share ideas, explain some concepts. But unlike before, you only dwell on your own medicine. Sometimes in your own level, we form a group discussion. We share the topics, we go and read this, we'll come back, each person will discuss it. But now, there are an improvement to the system. So I believe that gradually they will see reasons to support those who are in Open University, because I believe the fact that those who are already working and those who maybe one way or the other that are in Open University. But now the whole thing, especially when Obasanjo graduated and many other people graduated from Open Universities, the face, the scenario, the perception have been changed, the narration have been changed from negative to positive. So for more details, I wouldn't know why they cannot sponsor, because one, Open University is a federal university. I know if those who are in private university, they don't state fund, they don't sponsor private university because they feel that it's a private owned or managed. But for Open universities, now federal universities, and I believe that based on the way it was formed, that is what I can tell you. I have not know how the objects of Open University. I mean, the memorandum of understanding. Every university have their own memorandum, what they operate with. So based on the depend on the understanding they have with NBDC or TED fund, I believe with time they will come to a point they can assist Open universities students. But for now, I may not have more details further to give, but I believe that with time it will come up. So for more details, you can make a point, ask some of the management But for now, I don't have any further details about that. Emilia, you are raising your hand.
Yes, about what you just said now, that they don't value Open University. Please, I know that the changes, there have been a lot of changes. That's why even me, I have to be part of it. Because before I could not attend classes, leave my place of work and go to class was very difficult for me. But with all this that we have to do classes online, sit at home, sit anywhere we want to have our classes, I think it's improved. The point where people should start valuing it. Then secondly, I want to find out BSc student, a graduate, do they go for youth service now?
There is a junction, there is a kind of junction there. Junction is the way that yeah, whether is it from this set or from last set, for you now to enroll, you must obtain JAM. You must obtain JAM
Yes,
or register through JAM so that JAM will have your details to shortlist them for service for those who are within the age limit. I think
okay, sir.
it has been passed into law, either this set or last set. They have been allowed to attend go for service, but those ones they have to come through JAM or apart from if they don't pass through JAM, they have to do regularization so that JAM will capture their details for them to mobilize them.
It's okay, sir. Thank you so much.
There's a lot of improvement coming up. Of course, apart from I did my MSc with Open University. I am one of the National Open University alumni. I'm an active alumni. I'm a state organizing secretary for NAONA. So I know what is going on there and all that. So I believe that a lot of innovations, partnerships, and so many things that is coming up. And I would also suggest when you finish your master's, you can apply, try to secure the ACETEL that is partnering with the Open University to offer PhD for scholarship for PhD. They
It's
do
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
PhD in artificial intelligence, PhD in cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity, yeah.
Yes, through ACETEL. I think it's World Bank funded. It's World Bank sponsored. So once you finish your master's, you just take the exam and pass. So the shortlisted. I remember I have so many people that is doing it there free of charge. So just try to do much as you can, read well and have a good result in your master.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Please, sir, can you come again? What is the cause said the World Bank? Is it World Bank sponsoring something? I didn't get you clear.
I said ACETEL is the World Bank that's sponsoring PhD in cybersecurity, PhD in artificial intelligence through Open University. It's Open University that is there.
Okay, yes. I think I've seen that before.
So what I'm saying, try to do much as you can, read hard and
I've seen that before.
So that you can, even if you're not going through academics, even if you're in the office, if you have a PhD, you earn more respect. So many things will come into play. You have so many benefits. You don't have PhD just to go into teaching, no. So you may be there so that in some you become a member of the top management officers, and the more you move, the more money you have. All right.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you for a great session, sir. Sir, you mentioned something earlier that previous questions, they will ask you about this dilation formula. Please, can you just frame a question on it and ask so we know if it comes out, or how can they frame a question on this?
They may ask you explain dilations and erosions. when they say explain or what is dilations, you don't need to just say dilation is one of the morphology used for image processing. And for example, or assume that A and B are a set of a pixel. The dilation there is A by B, which invariably denotes AB. You just take this mathematically. You don't need to write much. You earn your full mark. But when you ask about dilation, you begin to write it with perspective with the medical related areas. Those dilations now, people go for dilation analysis. You know, some of them will begin to explain based on medical perspective. On that case, you're no longer with that person is no longer with us.
All right, sir. All right, thank you, sir.
All right. All the other things are just something you just go through it, and just like this one, opening and closing. This operation may be they are looking at operations or operators. These operations may be considered as second level operations, in that they build on the basic operations of dilation and erosions. They are also, as well as shall see, better behaved mathematically. For example, giving A and a structured element B, the open of A by B denoted by AB is defined as AB equals to let's say BB, where T just be transformed to BB. So all this is just like it's from here, from 3.2, where they are showing a relationship or a relation between erosion and dilations. Where you have a prime of a bar, you transformed A, B, showing the relationship of A, where T is just the dilation time. Then it's equals to B 10 to AB. So all this is just like denoting some of these symbols, to unite or redefine where it is open and where it is closed. For instance, just here now you say AB is open. Do you understand? But here, just like this one, the one in bracket is closed. Do you understand? So when it is AB and when it is closed, just like this, and when it is maybe in brackets, maybe let's say if we can look at more details of it. It's just a way of representing these informations here. Emilia, you are raising your hand.
So how do we present this thing? How do we use MATLAB to solve this? Is it possible we can use the MATLAB to do this and get A and B or B like this out?
All the
MATLAB teachers.
The features are they just like you're using Microsoft Excel.
Okay.
Just like you're using Microsoft Excel.
All right, sir.
This is just a better ways when just like you want to compute some maybe say student result or some you want to carry out some compute you want to compute a certain value, maybe say 2 times 4. Then if you don't want to use 2 in Excel, you can use the formula to compute it. Maybe say A1 times A2, depend on the cell where those values are. You can decide to use the expressions, the formula to compute it instead of using the value. It's either you use the value or you use what? The address. If you have used it, if you just open Excel If you just type 2 somewhere, and that place type another 2, or you type 3. If you don't want to use, say, 2 times 2, you can just look at the address of each cell have address, where the column is represented as number, then the rows is represented as alphabet, and you can combine alphanumeric A1, A2 or use the value if you have knowledge about Excel. So the same way MATLAB is, it has a value, or you can enter the value or use value or use the A to represent the value what you want to represent, depending on what you want to do. The nature of what you want to do determine how you are going to use it. All this is just like how to manipulate those numbers. If you are using MATLAB, when you manipulate the numbers, see this figure 3.4. You see the image and the background. This is how there is noise. This is how it is. And look at the second one, look at the third one. It's just like for those who, maybe if you're using Photoshop, you see how to manipulate images. If it's dark, they can brighten it. They can even remove some background and edit it, and anyhow you want to do it. There are a lot of features or tools that can help you achieve that if you're using Photoshop. But Photoshop is more of image or graphic images for user experience, for user interface. That is why you use a PhotoLab. But mathematically, where you can transform this in, that's why MATLAB is highly recommended. I think that is the end of today's class. It's supposed to end by 8. We have taken extra 31 minutes to discuss, but all's for good. So, you are still raising your hand up. I promise, you are still raising your hand up. Emilia, okay. Emilia.
Yes, sir. So, sir, please, for me to take away, I want to take, when you started this, I mentioned erosion and dilation. It was like your statement before that somebody would think the other way, but now with dilation that you have mentioned, I understand it. Please, in simple time, can you please explain this erosion? Just simple so I can take that back.
Okay, erosion. Let me just. Okay. Erosion is also a morphological concept from or it constitutes, or one of the morphology. Morphology, we use it just to change the shape. Morphology is just a kind of the shape of an object or an image. Then we now use erosion. For example, given set A and B, the erosion of A by B written as ATB is defined as ATB equals to W, a subset of a value B. And remember that A and B are all a set of pixels. Okay, let me just say, when you talk about erosion, you are talking about how we can move B over A and find where appropriately where that A can be placed. Do you get it? Erosion is a way of where we have A and B. Instead to remove one value from that where it is, where best can it be placed? That is erosion. Moving it from where that value is supposed to be, from where that image is supposed to be, and know where appropriate you have to place it. It's just like when you're using a Photoshop to manipulate an image. You cut somebody as you are. If you're using Photoshop or all these photo editors, you are in your village or you stay in one a cake seat and they took picture. Then they can remove that old seat and bring foreign seat and replace with that old seat. That means then you have seat 1 and seat 2. A is old seat, B is a foreign seat. You now remove that old seat. Where do you want to place it? Do you want to remove it entirely and they carry the new seat is B and they put appropriately? Secondly, you want to attend an event or send a picture that you attended an event and you are not properly dressed, but they want your picture. What do? You get somebody any kind of dress online. You now use it. Go use your software applications, manipulate your picture. Then you now remove those the cloth we wear and use another cloth, and then carry your head and put in another person's cloth. With your head, you assume that you are the real architect of that picture. So when you have A, as I said, A could be, let's say, old furniture. B will be a new furniture. And you want to replace that A. You want to change that A. That is, you want to change your old furniture. You carry a new furniture and place it in your house. What do you do with that old furniture? Where do you want to keep it? Do you want to throw it away, or do you want to dash it to somebody? Or you may say to sell it and then go and buy a new one. That is why we say that, in other words, erosion A and B consists of all points of this, where erosion can be moved. We can move B over A. A is old furniture. B is a new furniture. And find all the places it will fit. And for each place marked down the corresponding 00, you now choose where you want to place it. Sometimes you may decide to choose old image and new image. You want to place them together so that people will see it. You normally see some maybe obituary posters. They will use picture of that person. Sometimes they will go and carry old picture of that person. You get it? And
Yes, sir.
they will place it, they will show it so that you see when he was young and now is old. Or the seat they use in old pictures, they will now manipulate it and carry a new seat and put. Sometimes some of our constituency politicians, they will philanthropists, they will build a house for maybe for an elderly person in the village. If they want to show it online, they will snap the old apartment and now snap the new apartment, showing how it was before and how it was presently. So that is the real life interpretation of all this erosion and then dilations.
Okay, sir. I think it's understood now.
So if you have access to MATLAB, you can test run some of the examples we are seeing here. Okay, and the best way you can just visit YouTube, and it will give you all the necessary guide you may also explore. All right, this is 8:39, almost 8:40. Having come to this point, this level, I think we can call it a day. See you in our next class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.